beautiful people. Welcome.
Hello, hello, hello.
You all can hear us okay, and everything is well with the sound.
How is everyone today?
Say hello, don't be shy. Hi, Jen. I hope you're all as well.
Hi, Jen. So today we were talking about possibly doing fractal clearings, and I've actually changed my mind on doing those. Instead, we're just going to post some questions and allow ourselves, our higher selves, or human selves to just receive. I am coming down with a cold, so please bear with my sinusy conversation. So yesterday we were working on self-worth, right? And doing the clearings in the yesterday was self-image, doing the clearings in self-image and really like feeling what it feels like to have other frequencies that aren't yours entangled into the self-image, and how it feels to just release those and be in this like more expansive frequency of who you be. Doing well, found out more about my childhood I knew but didn't completely put two and two together. Awesome. So you're allowing yourself, Jen, because this is kind of what it's in, Will you read that, Andy, please?
Yeah. Doing well, found out more info about childhood I kind of knew, but didn't completely put two and two together. I mean, that happens all the time, and it's specifically, I feel, interesting when it comes to childhood. But what I feel Jess was picking up on is that you're allowing yourself allowance and ease of perceiving whatever it is that you need to know. Whatever resistance was there in reference to you putting two and two together is now gone. Right?
Yeah.
So now you're able to receive more and be able to have a more objectified understanding of what the past was. A lot of times when we have victimization stories or we over identify with the trope of a victim, especially when we talk about the past, then we're still not necessarily released of that resistance in reference to being able to just receive it, right? It's not fuel that's going to add to your survival frequency anymore. It's not like a woe is me frequency of like, oh, this is another reason why I am the way that I am. Jess got some elderberry vitamin gummy. Ooh.
Yes, I am doing all this stuff. It's just that fun stuff. And yesterday too, like I'm gonna be honest, like I've been feeling this like interesting, like little bit of a vibration in my heart space. Just trying to expand out. There definitely has been a lot of like high energies coming in again from the sun. Earlier I checked, we were like at 60% or high. I don't know. I'm not getting into the Schumann report because I don't really know how to. I don't know really.
We just know it's crazy shit.
Yeah,
It's a wave.
I just know hydrate, vitamin C, hydrate, vitamin C. So first question I kind of want to ask today, because today I feel like we should be more in like this beautiful ask, receive kind of frequency, right? Let's get our beings used to what it feels like to ask a question and to allow, these different receiving energies to come in, not a story, but a receiving energy. Can you kind of clarify the difference between a story and a receiving energy
A
for me?
receiving energy, there's a sort of like, think of it as you're floating downstream, right? Lazy river kind of energy, right? When we're talking about anything outside of that, there's an emotional charge that then is almost overwhelming, that is wanting to have a story applied to it. And either that story is, you know,
the story keeps you in a looping.
Yes,
It keeps you in a looping.
Yeah.
Okay, so Today, we're going to work on getting out of the looping frequency, right? To have awareness of what it is that's bringing us to this looping energy. And then, like, I see too on here, uh, Jen, you know, her story is this, and for this I feel like abandonment, I feel lack, I feel wonky self-worth, when our divine parents, our parents here on this planet, don't show up for us the way that they don't show up for us because they're lost in their own polarities, right? It leaves this space inside of us and creates our own polarities. Therefore, we frequency match in polarities with them, right? And at this process, it's more about holding the space to be able to heal that polarity, not only for yourself, but for the whole, generational line before you and ahead of you, too. What?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm just breathing into what you're saying.
Okay.
You know,
So,
that's sort of where ancestral karma sort of is rooted, right? It's this passing on of polarity and looping and things that, it's not necessarily expected that you're going to find your way out of the loops immediately just by knowing them. But even having awareness of them gives you hope, gives you understanding of what is possible for you, and sometimes doing the work to even feel a little bit clearer.
allows you a different choice,
Yes.
one that you never felt that was an option, right?
Mm.
Because you never had that filled for the first place. Like, so how could that be an option if you don't even know what that frequency is, right? So this is like learning how to connect into that frequency for yourself and refilling that frequency for yourself, right? So the first question I want to ask today is what, again, take a deep breath in, because each time I ask a question, like, let's get into a little routine of breathing, right? So in through your nose, hold it, and then release. And now I'm going to ask a question. What is your self-worth image in ease? Okay, I'm going to re-ask that question because that didn't make sense. What is your self-image? There we go. What is your self-image in ease? And just receive. Like, what does that feel like? My self-image in ease. And just receive. And by receiving, you're just like allowing this new frequency of space, right? Because we talk about like what you think is what you create, right? So if we're asking ourselves, what is our self image in ease, right? We're allowing the universe to help us see and feel that energy for ourselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you just breathe, right? So, like, for me, self image, like, I like all these weird, crazy prints. Like, I like to be comfortable. I like my short hair, and then I keep going back and forth of grow it out, keep it short, grow it. It's just for me, right? Because anytime I start thinking about growing out, it's really like the wonky energies around me over the fact that I shave my head, right? But is that mine? Because honestly, I love it. I love it. It's so nice not to have to mess with my hair. Like, I am not like one of those that likes to curl my hair. I always burn myself. Like, all those like cool girly things of like gluing my eyelashes on. Like, I always get that glue in my eye, and then I'm scared I'm gonna go blind. And so do I like it? Do I think it's pretty? Of course I do. I think it's gorgeous. But is that really something for me? Is that something that I need to like work on? If it is, then that's something that I would choose to keep learning more about, right?
And I also want to bring emphasis to, like, you may not necessarily know, whether you're watching this on the replay or watching this live, you may not know exactly how you want to present, or what your relationship with self is. But what this sort of journey is, it's sort of making you conscious of the relationship you have with yourself, how you are when you are on your own, right? What are you looping in? Just awareness to the I am
Yep,
is
totally.
enough for you. It's just enough for you right now. It's enough for you right now, right? Wanting to make more or make it more, or being so um focused and invested in your growth that you're not giving life to the journey is also resistance. And it also is a reflection on your relationship with yourself, patience with oneself, right?
Yeah, totally. And in this comment from Jen, self image for me is accepting every part of me, regardless of others, and knowing it's okay to find things I don't like. So,
Yeah.
my question I would pose to you, and in fact, I just did this to myself after getting out of the shower. I was looking at myself in the mirror, and instantly I want to start attacking myself like, oh, you need to work on this, da, 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 right? Do you continue on in those thoughts? Or do you go, "Oh, whoa, whoa, we don't need to attack ourselves," like, "Okay," and then start doing I started doing, like, funny things in the bathroom, like, as I was brushing my teeth. Because if it's something I don't care for when I look in my mirror, then am I fixing it? Or am I just amplifying and focusing on the thing I don't care for? So it's, again, bringing this change of thought pattern.
Yeah.
Are we just attacking ourselves, or are we giving ourselves the space to be able to expand out and really expand on who we really like about ourselves inside?
Listen, and all roads that lead divinely lead back to self. All roads that are paved by the divine or God are leading back to self. All roads are heading this way. So, allowing this to be a pivotal part of your experience, your awareness when it comes to this, um, work, it just kills me when people just drive by real slow and they're looking at you like, okay, hello. Um,
But this is another part of it too. You can have those thoughts come in. I've learned to pause and say, right? And that's the same thing. Like, those thoughts came in. Do they not exist? No, they're still there. That frequency is still there looking to be fed, right? But here comes the option. Do you choose to keep feeding that, or do you go, whoa, I don't choose that frequency anymore? I choose to start looking at myself in a way that I can better myself. Like, what is it that I need to do? And instead of thinking it, I start doing it,
yeah.
right? So it's the difference of staying lost in thought on some things and the other frequency of actually going into action with
and
things.
and sometimes there is a sick sadistic pleasure in staying in that energy, because sometimes you can have the choice, and it's a whole different thing when you have the choice to feel lighter, to remove what's not yours, but you choose to stay there. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily to beat you up, but to help you understand that you know how to get out of this thing. You know how to do this. You know how to work through this energy. A lot of you guys, before you even came to us, already have the tools, but you have gotten so used to looping and had just made it a normal, the same way we have,
Yeah.
that you forget that it's a choice. But then when you realize it's a choice,
Then you have to
you
remember
have to
it's a
do it.
choice, and you have to
Yeah.
take responsibility for your choices, right? And so, like, today's questions, this is what we're going to really be bringing forward is, what truths are you holding for yourself, and do they really serve you, right? And here's the thing: what may work for me may not work for you. And that is perfectly fine. We're not carbon copies of anybody, right? We are our own individuals. But if there's something in this space, something in this experiment that I'm doing in my life benefits you, helps you start choosing a positive frequency instead of the negative frequency that we've been all looping in as a collective, then hey, that warms my soul so much that I'm actually able helping in a way I've always desired to help, but without, you know, giving away my energy. In fact, it's in this place of holding my space of who I be and expanding that out for everyone else to be able to tap in and feel and find their own way. So again, this is just our experiment. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And just really sit with us, breathe, and just allow yourself to, like, if this is something you desire, to move into these new frequencies that are here and available for you, just like they are for me. So, first question I'd like to ask, second question actually, is, as a sovereign being, we are all worthy to have ease. How does that feel for you?
Right.
Does that feel heavy to you?
We are
Does that
all
feel
worthy to
light?
have needs.
What does a sovereign being even mean to you? Like, what is that translation of language like mean for you?
Sovereign being,
Yeah.
it for me it means intention. It means I chose this sovereignly. Like sovereignty feels like a choice. It feels like free will in frequency. So when I hear sovereign being, I hear a being that intentionally chose to be here.
When I feel sovereign being, I feel the I am frequency.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the I am frequency that's been embodied in all of us, that we get to expand out and live in this beautiful human experience. So again, it can mean something completely different for you. That's fine. It's just the fact of bringing up this energy and asking yourself this question that maybe you'd never asked yourself before, right? So I would also ask, where is it that you're blocked in your self-worth? Is self-worth entangled in that for you? What does self-worth mean to you? Can you identify the self-worth frequency with any chakras? Is that something that like is a thing
But
for you or
think
not?
about it as like we're all running a business, right? Our life itself is a business. I know that sounds wonky, but hear me out, right? You know you need supplies to be able to make your products. So you source them from somewhere, right? So you're sourcing them this whole time from other countries because it just works easier that way. That so you thought, but you didn't realize that there was an abundance of work in your backyard. There's abundance of raw materials in your backyard that you could benefit from and you could use, right? So for me, I feel like when we think about self worth, the first thing that needs to be addressed is where are you sourcing your materials from? Where are you sourcing that from? Where is that coming in?
Exactly. I would also ask, where is the fear you have that filters your self-worth? What fears do you have around standing into who you truly be? Is there some fear in there?
Yeah,
Is there no fear in there? What is the frequency that you feel that may be some kind of filter or blockage between you and your self worth? Again, no right or wrong. It's just asking yourself questions, giving yourself a space to like just kind of roll over frequencies, and if you feel heavy in it, ask more questions.
but it's
Ask if
also a
that
relationship
heaviness.
with yourself. They say relationships, the key to relationships is communication, right? Are you communicating with thyself? Are you asking yourself questions like, why did I just do that? What is that rooted in? Could I have been wrong here? Could I have been right? Not even about wrong or right. Is there something more to everything that just unfolded that can illuminate something for me that I wasn't ready to see before, but I'm ready to see now, right? Why am I this? Why do I get this emotional charge whenever I'm around these kinds of people? What is this, right? You start to ask these questions, you start to sift through your hoarder house until it's nice, all clear and clean, right? Slowly and surely. Survey yourself. LOL. Ask questions. Yes, everybody should have their own census process with themselves.
Yeah. And then it would be like, what is your current self value?
Hmm.
What do you, at this moment, right now, not before, not in the future, right now, in this present moment, wh- what is your current self worth value? Do you even know what that means for yourself? Do you have any understanding of what that feels like for yourself? I'm going to tell you, when I started this, I had zero clue. I was like, what? What are you talking about? We get so encrusted with everyone else's frequency that it's hard to even feel what our own true feelings are, right? And as we start to release these things that no longer serve us, we're able to expand out into everything that does.
Yes. You're
So, what would
clearing
it
that
take?
space, right?
Go ahead.
I was just saying you're clearing that space, so therefore more things can fit. You can move. We have a limited capacity of gigabytes on our devices. you know. And a lot of times those things are being filled up by thoughts that you loop in that keep up a big majority of your consciousness, that prevent you from being able to see clearly or receive a message, right? um, a lot of times it's relationships and things, right? You have a current romantic relationship, yet one that was 2 years ago is still replaying in your head, right? Romantically, you're trying to figure out why things are wonky in your present relationship. In reality, you have a lot of gigabytes being taken up by that old relationship. There's a conscious awareness to what it is that we're holding on to, and
Yeah.
that is a huge part of the relationship itself.
And this part too actually puts, to have equal give and take. Well, I'd ask another question. What does that actually mean to you? Is that equal give and take outside of you, or is that equal give and take within? And again, just feeling what that means. Because for me personally, to have equal give and take, that doesn't have anything to do with outside of me. That has to do with inside of me, right? And it has to do with the awareness that I choose to have with myself, right? To equally give myself gratitude for who I be and where I be, right? And to be able to voice when I need assistance, when I'm in a spot that I can't really give that yummy frequency to myself. Which is why, like, for me, my relationship with Andy has been so amazing, because it's really been a place where we're able to just hold this space for one another, right? So did that really happen because he chose, or did it happen because I finally frequency matched with someone who was doing the same with themselves? And so that was why it was able to be this great co-creation frequency of being able to do that for each other.
This is why our image is the Two of Cups, because we truly relish and understand and appreciate what it feels like to be in such an abundant give and take relationship, because there is no real take. You know what I mean? There's just give.
It's finding the balance of what it means to give yourself the beautiful frequency of self-worth, and then which would take me, what would it take for you to feel your self-worth and ease?
Yes, but Jen, it's not about equal give and take penny for penny. Because Jen says equal give and take from friends and family is an expectation. Not everyone can give us back what we give out. Absolutely.
Okay, but it comes to this thing of this,
It's a
right?
frequency.
It
It,
comes to what
it's
Queen
a.
Cups was talking about a couple weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
right? When she was talking about being aware of where you're giving out energy, right? Is that person just using the energy that you give for themselves? Do they replace that energy back with that kind of frequency of they're going to, I feel like, more humanized? Like, are they going to drop everything and run over to you like you would? And if
Yeah.
they wouldn't match you with that same like frequency, and it's not money, it's the intention,
But
right?
it's also a frequency, because we were both at a place in our journeys where we were ready for that, like Jessica said. So we also understand that we don't have to force it. I don't have to think in my head, hey, listen, Jessica's really been someone I could lean on for the past couple of weeks, and now I have to, I have to flip it. I have to switch back. It's not really a conscious thing, even though it is. It's more of a flow, right? I might be
Because
in a
we
place
hold
of
space
empowerment
for
today.
us to be in our own space.
Yes.
I don't hold space to be dependent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do things with an intention of getting something, with an expectation, with an expectation of getting anything back.
Yeah.
And I don't give anything that I don't have to give,
Yes.
right? And holding that frequency for myself has allowed me to frequency match with other people who behave in the same frequency. Does that make more sense?
Yeah. Yeah. We're not trying to make you wrong for your statement.
No,
We were just trying to help um, describe what it is that we experience, which I'm sure you experience in your own
that's where
relationship.
some of the wonky comes from. This is a beautiful question to ask here, right? Equal give and take from friends and family is an expectation. Right there, it's an expectation.
But not everybody can give us back what we give out exactly.
Okay, but you went to expectation. So
Yeah.
the fact that there's an expectation in there, right, shows that there's some kind of unhealed something you're polarity matching with. That's what I would talk about, right? Where is it in that for an expectation? Are you polarity matching? And
Mm.
in that expectation, is it matched with an intention or is it matched with another expectation? Right. And so that's where I feel like the frequencies are a bit differently, because the expectation frequency asks for another expectation frequency to be matched. And that, in my, again, this is just in my experiment. In my experiment, when you add expectation into something, you're not clearly conversing to the universe what you're desiring.
Yeah.
Right? To me, that's the difference between an intention and expectation.
Mm.
Right? The intention, you're clear on the frequency, and this is where it would be. What would it take for you to feel your self-worth and ease? Right? So that would be an intention. There's
Mm.
no expectation of what that really means, because the expectation will add filters or blocks from
Yeah.
you actually receiving the
Yep.
true frequency of your self-worth.
Well,
And
because
there we go.
it's all the chip in your shoulder kind of frequency, right? When you have chips in your shoulder about, I'm used to this, right? That's a story you tell about the emotional charge you feel when you feel let down by another.
Invisible contracts too.
Hmm. So there's an emotional charge that you are feeling and you're tapping into that you just make normal. You tell a story about, and you say, yeah, not everybody can give back. Well, there is the Two of Cups is not just about two people giving the same. It's about two people on the same frequency willing to um,
This
flow
lack
together.
frequency.
Right.
This being
Willing
entangled
to
in lack
flow together.
frequency too. You know? And that's, it's just, again, more things to ask and feel, right? And this could not even resonate with you. And that is totally fine too. You can be like, no, sorry, in my thing I feel something different. There is nothing wrong with you having a different, journey than what I am having. Again, we're just here just posing questions, showing how to move things, and I'm just kind of giving the tips and what I have felt in the different frequencies of these different English words.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then where is it that you don't feel safe? Do you not
Words are
feel
like
safe within?
sandwiches.
Yeah. Do you not feel safe within? Like, just receive. Where do you not feel safe? Or do you feel safe? And are you expanding that safe frequency out? What is blocking you from your inner connection to source? You know, what is there that's giving you a filter that's not really allowing you to feel your true beautiful frequency of I am that we all be? Because we all have this frequency inside of us. So, just receive.
There's
And if
there's
there's
also part of this when we talk about relationships that I'm feeling is tied into, and I've been hearing this a lot, the law of compensation, right? When you're truly without expectation, without want, without holding on to anything, you have no chips on your shoulders, and you're truly giving from a heart place, because it feels right. You'd be surprised, even people that you would have expectations about whether or not they could or couldn't meet you in that same frequency, they're going to feel the impulse to do so back because it is divinely given. It is divinely inspired. It is coming from the most purest place. So when people receive that from you and they know that there's no expectation and they whatever, that's infectious.
totally. And then that would lead me into, what is a boundary for you? How do you feel when the word boundary is even brought up? You know, do you feel that boundaries are for others? Are boundaries set for energy outside of you? Or are boundaries set for you? What you will allow within, what you will allow to happen. And again, there's no right or wrong in this. It's just bringing up the frequency of what is a boundary for you. Me personally, when I make a boundary line, it's not for anyone outside of me, it's for myself.
Yeah.
And that took me a long time to understand. You know, boundaries, I try to like hold this line of like, you're crossing my line, get back. It's not about showing the other person they're crossing the line. It's about you having self control to say, no, mm-mm, this is a boundary. I'm done. That was fun. And then I'm
You,
walking away, and
it's
everything, all that is not
you
mine,
know when
and moving
they
on.
say the body or the vessel is a temple, right? If you want to take that a step further, you could say that the vessel is a country. It's your land. You know what I mean? And you have to have diplomatic boundaries and understandings and no invisible contracts with the people in your lives, these other countries. You
Yeah,
know, because they'll come and they'll take
it is.
advantage, especially if it's in that wonky unconscious energy. Then there's a lot of ocean you're dealing with. You're in the ocean, you're not in the tide. So therefore, it's less about you feeling like, I'll just be better off if I keep these kinds of people out and these kinds of people in. That's the frequency I feel most unconscious thoughts around when it comes to boundaries. It's and that's why Jessica's saying to ask these questions, because it's like, is a boundary really for me? When I think of that, is it just my way of filtering out certain people, or is it my way of being able to maintain the relationships that I have
With yourself.
with yourself, with other people too? Like, that you and your mom have a bumpy, not, I'm not talking about you in general, right? For example, that Cindy, she knows that her and her mom bump heads a lot, right? But she can also understand that there's a level of boundaries that she can also incorporate that can keep that relationship functional.
Totally.
We're not being asked to completely like turn our backs or cold shoulders against people who are not holding awareness. But when you have the awareness, then that comes with responsibility, and it's such a glorious responsibility it is.
Yeah. The boundaries that I've set, you know, I've still had it, like, I've still dealt with the number one person that I felt like nonstop violated my boundaries, right? And that's what allowed me to learn it wasn't about a line that I was setting for that person. It was
Mm-hmm.
about a line I was setting for myself.
Mm.
When was it enough? When was it time to walk away? When did I decide to stop polarity matching with people and reacting in that energy? And instead choose to respond and move away. So for me, that's what a boundary feels like, right? Now, again, completely different for everyone. There's no right or wrong in this. It's just asking, feeling what is a sense of right for you. What is, and to me, right is light. Where do you feel lightness? Where do you feel constricted? And those things that are constricting you, that's your body trying to tell you those aren't serving you. And that's what I found in my awakening process and my experiment, right? Which will lead me into the question of where are you currently tangled in others' vision of your self image? And yesterday we did a clearing of that. So that may feel way lighter than some of the other questions. And that's to also show you too how simple it can be by just doing polarity clearings to remove other people's energy off of yours to better expand yourself and stand in who you truly be, right? Without this wonky thing of like copycatting and, uh, chameleon or whatever freaking words. You realize that all these things are brought for us to be able to grow and expand with our own frequency of it, right?
Someone
And
was
what,
offended when I put a boundary up. Think it's just simple respect thing now. Okay.
yeah. Okay, well, someone being offended, right? Is that again
Somebody had an emotional charge and a reaction to
an invisible
you.
contract you are no
Yes.
longer choosing to fulfill?
And they're
And
looking at
is that
like, have you
something,
not? Did you not sign the dotted line, boo? Like, what? This is not the arrangement that we have. And you're like, well, I already redid that arrangement with the lawyers, and you were just not privy to it.
and here's the thing, even if you do sign an invisible contract, you can choose not to at
Yeah.
any time.
Invisible contracts don't hold up in court.
And what is invisible contract? Where is something that you agreed to do something for someone and then all of a sudden had that
this is like
expectation,
this is like
but
that
but
friend.
wait, but that's where that expectation comes in again, right? You choose to do something kind for someone because you have something to be able to help someone else, and now there's an expectation for you to always be that person for them. Is that truly fair to you or to them? It's an invisible contract. Because you chose to do one thing one nice time, you now forever have to be that person that goes, and what
Yep.
if life has changed for you? You don't have those finances or securities or whatever to be that person. Now you're shamed because you can't be that one nice person again when you had it to share. You see how this gets all wonky in
Yeah.
expectations, you know? And then the thing I would bring to the next one is, are you choosing to change your negative looping thoughts? Because again, this is something again that you have to choose.
Yeah.
Are you tired of beating yourself up all the time?
And
Because
I don't know
no
why I feel the need
one,
to say that. It's not even necessarily something you earn. It's just something you choose, right? There's this kind of wonky religious, dogmatic energy about, you know, relief is earned because there's also an embedded subconscious belief that you deserve what it is that you have, right?
yes, yeah. And then Ashley, the same thing. You just proved exactly what I said. An expectation. So you're supposed to go and change all your things again because this person is now expecting you to consistently be that person. And is that really fair to you? Are you polarity matching with someone like that? You know, does that mean you have to stop talking to them? No. But can you bring clarity into that? You know, hey, I may be able to do this one time, but this isn't something I can do all the time. And how often do we even say that in a conversation when we agree to help someone? Or is there a part of us that is being fulfilled in the sense of like, oh, I'm a good person because I do this, right? So that's where we have to take ownership for what we are frequency putting out. Whereas everywhere that, then the next part would be, where is everywhere you agreed to forget? Where is everywhere you agreed to forget of who you truly be?
Do
What
you have
is
these questions written or typed?
written?
Well,
And I'm
actually,
sorry.
I also think that there is an invisible. You know, when we think about invisible contracts and boundaries as well, we also can become aware of the invisible contracts that we have signed other people into as well, right? What kind of invisible contracts did you have your friend in? What did
Yeah.
you expect from her? Right? It's a two-way street too, so don't forget that.
No, truth. And that's where we get to go and heal and feel ourselves, right? So it's like, where was everywhere you agreed to forget? Forget the fact that you also had invisible contracts or whatever it happens to be, the true frequency of who you be. You get to then expand yourself out into a space of where can you choose in your own experiment in remembering who you are. And that's where like another part where tomorrow Andy will be in the soul retrieval. Where is it during how many different lifetimes have you chosen to give away parts of you to fulfill something? And really, was it to fulfill you, or was it something that you were under the assumption that you needed to do to be able to reach a certain goal? Right? What is that for you? Is there anything in there for you? Where is it in your energetic form that you're in form and structure that has entangled you and doesn't serve you? And just receive and feel this. And when you feel this and receive this, you start seeing these things. And then you can ask yourself, is this something I still desire to choose? Or maybe is this something that I need to like fix in myself or with someone else so that way I can move forward on the journey that I choose to be on? She
Yeah.
was always helping me with doctor stuff. Now pregnant, she's a ghost. Says a lot now, but I see it now. And that's, I would see that would be to hold gratitude for yourself, Ashley. Where is it that you need to give that love back to you that you were so easily able to give away to a friend? Right? And that's what I'm talking about too. And when it's no problem for us to hand this love off to someone else, where is it that we're creating that hole inside for ourselves? Because we're expecting someone else to turn around and refill it for us. It doesn't work that way. Not in my experiment. Again, where's everywhere that you have anxiety and or fear stepping into who you truly be? And does it serve you? At certain parts of my journey, I'm going to say it did serve me. So just because we ask these questions doesn't mean that always it's a no, it doesn't serve me. There may be some of these things that you're still learning on your journey. But now you have the awareness, then you're able to receive and be in this response energy rather than a reaction energy. And from what I have found again in my experiment is when I'm in the reaction energy is when I get lost at times in fear and shame and all the other negative yuck energies I don't like getting lost in. Right? And why? Because I had a reaction. Sometimes the reaction serves me and sometimes it doesn't. There is no right or wrong. Domestic it's really turning this love into for yourself. And where does this energy serve your higher good? The energy that you are currently in, where you are right now in your life. Do you feel like this is really where you're expanding into like this beautiful person that you be? Or are you still feeling like you're kind of caught in this heavy, constricted frequency? Only you know what's right or wrong or light or heavy for you. No one else has the right to tell you.
And
That's for
that's
you to figure out your own.
and that's a huge part of becoming aware, right? Awakening is really awareness, right? It's the combination or the, I want to say the difference, the gap between unconsciousness and being aware, being conscious, being in on every little choice you make, understanding why, right? Having a clear understanding of why you are the way you are, and what affects you and what doesn't, and what feels light and what doesn't. This is all part of awakening. It's all part of this process. And for many of us, it's not, it's, I don't want to say it's not chosen because we make the choice every day, but it's very blatant. It's blaring. Let's say that it's blaring. The answers to the questions you have even yet to ask are already being blared back to you in abundance. But it's the emotional charge that makes you wonky about it, that causes you to continue looping,
Yeah,
you know?
totally. And can you feel your inner worth? And this is where Andy talks about, your trauma are uncashed checks. Where are you being triggered? Has this conversation triggered you? If it did, that's perfectly fine too.
Yeah,
Ask questions into what you were triggered in. Again, like I said, I'm no one to be on a pedestal. I'm just arm in arm sharing my experiment,
we gotta go for it, bro.
asking questions, can you feel ease in your being? And that's where I feel like we should end it with today, being in this frequency of can you feel ease within your being? And just receive. Is that something that's able for you, is that something you can receive? Or is that something you're still entangled with what does ease mean?
I love that. Right, because even the perception of ease can feel like, can have a wonky frequency to it as well. It can have a distorted frequency to it as well. Ease doesn't mean carelessness or selfishness.
Ease is lightness.
Mhm.
It's like your middle part is floating again in my experiment. It's like this whole part is floating in outer space. It's light.
Yeah,
And when it's not light, then I ask questions into it. Because that constricted feeling for me has been one of awareness that I am being triggered in something. There is some polarity I still need to clear.
yeah,
We're all operating in a lot of polarity.
yeah.
Asking questions and moving through it is what changes the cycle. I feel that's what's different than the generation before.
I agree.
I ask questions. I'm not okay with the status quo.
Hmm.
I desire way more out of life than what it was that I was given. And everywhere that I was filled from a family member, from being a young child to at this point, I've chosen to take the time and to fill that self from that energy for myself. I've chosen to have a different relationship with my daughter than I ever experienced before in my life
Yeah.
because we get the choice to choose something different. We were just talking about Leanne and food, you
Yeah.
know, and my kid is like very crazy when it comes to food. She doesn't want anything. Having the polarity clearings that I did with Jamie Bates, really showed me conscious parenting. How much of this are we looped into things that are just pushed down generation to generation that we don't even ask questions into? I was beaten, so you get beaten. Oh, the laws are what changes that now. Not so much. It's the polarity, right? I was raised in the rule of what happens in my house stays in my house. And that was fear enough not to say anything. And then when I did say something, it still didn't. It was more of a mess than if I wouldn't have said anything at all. So, are these polarities that we're consistently looping in expanding us or keeping us in a place that is no longer for us? And here on Violet Path
The same old, same old.
and here on Violet Pathways, we're just offering a space where you can ask questions into things. Where you can bring up things that, you're like, oh, because I'm going to tell you a lot of these conversations and have been all around the world in these beautiful mentorships and, I have gone through so many classes. And the number one thing I've learned from all of this is the space of love for yourself. And it was really hard for me in the beginning to step into that. Why? I've been conditioned that I wasn't worthy to love myself. Now
Mm.
that I'm at a place and I've deprogrammed that, I've deprogrammed the not self talk, a frequency that never was mine in the first place. I get to sit in this yummy space of who I just desire to be. It's beautiful. It's not an ego based thing. My ego is open. I amplify other people's egos. So now when I feel that, I'm like, whoa, everything all that is needing to
Yeah.
prove or improve
But
something. Not mine. I don't need to prove or improve anything to anybody. I do what works for me. And I'm always a work in progress. Always. Because that's what I choose to be. I choose to expand out and really be and live life where I get to enjoy moment to moment and stop worrying about the future so much. Stop getting lost in the past that was so painful and be in this I am current space and just be me. Make jewelry, paint, talk to friends, have clients, help them clear them, help them start to see the difference of life with intention versus expectation. Take more classes. Truth is, most of the classes I took, I was like, how in the hell am I going to get the money for that? Like, I'm a single mom. I don't know how I'm going to come up with this money. But you know what I would tell myself? I would tell the universe, if this is meant for me, then this is the amount of money that I need, and this is the deadline. And I'm going to tell you, 10 out of 10 times that money came to me.
yeah.
How, when, where, like, it just would.
Mhm.
No expectation. If I was meant to take that class, it would be offered. Maybe I wouldn't have the full amount, but oh, guess what? Now all of a sudden I got a discounted course because I'm in the pilot course. So
Mhm.
I'm still getting all that information and being able to grow and expand and be who I be. So it's all about what we hold ourselves in. Don't hold yourself in lack anymore. It's not the only option. I know we feel lack in life, especially right now in this time. But it's so amazing that having that lack frequency, as thick as it is, this chaos frequency that's just ready to jump in, the lack frequency, right? You hold space for abundance. You hold intentions for things to really just match up to where you are in life. And it happens. And you're like, ah, it happened. Wow. I
Yeah.
didn't see that coming from that way. But hot dog.
Like I've been saying, right? It's that
And by
leap.
not having expectations, you don't have the filters to block what's coming in. Go ahead, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's leap of faith versus or leap of faith, uh, and then that investment, right? And that process that keeps unfolding, right? You take a leap of faith, right? You see a return on your investment. The leap of faith, return on investment. It's not instant gratification.
No,
It's wow. I implemented this new change. And I'm already seeing results, right? I've tried this thing, even though I wasn't sure. I wanted to take this class, so I set the intention and I told the universe, this is the due date, this is the amount, right? So it's what I'm learning. It's that leap of faith, and then that return on investment energy that really gives you that motivation and that encouragement to keep going.
totally.
Yeah.
All right, my friends, I feel like we are complete for today. Thank you, Ashley, for hanging out with us. Thank you, everyone who's shown up and paid part of the conversation. And thank you for all of you that are watch on the replay. Again, on Violet Pathways, we're just here bringing our experiment to you, asking questions, allowing this energy to unfold for you. There is no right and wrong in this. It's only what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
So take what resonates and leave what doesn't. And I am complete, Andy.
And we leave you in your divine light of the divine creator. Until next time, guys, we'll see you. I'll be going live tonight. And I'll see you guys then.
Bye, guys.